London by William Blake, which I think is one of those poems that you can use to compare with several other poems. I think it's a really good poem to have in the back of your pocket for any good comparisons, particularly on ideas of power, kind of oppression, corruption, any of those big themes. But what is it all about? Blake wanders around the city of London and condemns all the corruption he witnesses. Now, I say Blake because, unlike a few poems, I believe that the writer and the speaker of the poem is far more interlinked than we usually see. I would say this is similar to John Agard's Checking Out Me History, where the speaker and the writer's voice are very much intertwined. I think there is a musicality to the text that permeates through each and every stanza. I want you to consider the alternate rhyme, replicating his walk around the city. Street, flow, meet, woe. And this alternate rhyme carries on throughout. There is also the use of iambic tetrameter, meaning that instead of 10 syllables, which we get with iambic pentameter, we've got 8, and it's a rhythm of four pairs of stressed and unstressed syllables. This creates a plodding, almost monotonous rhythm, which matches the suffering and misery Blake describes in the city. So you can very much use this to help discuss and use to analyse any question that you may come across with this. Look at the first stanza of the poem. I wander through each charted street near where the charted Thames flow, and mark in every street I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. Now wonder suggests both awe and confusion, and that could arguably be representative or emblematic of the perplexing state that is the City of London. Whilst we may be in awe of all of the sights that we see, Blake is also suggesting that we're also in a state of confusion because the sights really present the kind of decaying morality that London has at its core. This aimlessness is often associated with the word wonder, as if it suggests that the speaker is directionless. However, I would say that what he may be suggesting is that London has lost its real truth and soul due to industrialisation and through the immense wealth that came as a result of this, as in fact in an aimless kind of position where it's simply been corrupted to its very core. Chartered, which you can see has been repeated twice. I've highlighted that for you. Chartered meaning owned or financed, and I said that it's using the language of finance and ownership, and that chartered suggests that London's corruption is interlinked with avarice and wealth. The Thames being chartered, which is obviously the river, could be hinting that even the natural resources are now intertwined with corruption and oppression, showing us how far London's downfall has gone to. Mark, which then goes into marks again. Marks of weakness, marks of woe, which is a nice little nuance going from mark to marks, so going from the singular to the plural. So marks is possibly a biblical allusion, and we can link this to the mark of Cain, where in the book of Genesis, Cain was marked because of his action, his transgression, by murdering his brother out of jealousy and anger. And he gets damned by God for this. Now, possibly Blake is suggesting that the inhabitants of London are also cursed. Another idea can be the idea of permanence, as if the oppression has become a permanent feature on the faces of each individual, due to the cruelty and corruption that is the city is hidden. So in the third stanza we have here HEAR, which is spelt with each letter of the line going across. We have this beautiful hidden acrostic. Now, for me, this kind of shows that this poem is a plea for change, and Blake is desperate for us to hear the messages of this poem, to understand the corruption of London, to understand the suffering of so many in London. As the poem goes on, we see the suffering of the chimney sweeper, we see the suffering of the harlot, of the soldier, all who are victims against the oppressive nature of the City of London. And he's trying desperately for us to hear these messages and to act upon these messages too. That is what I'm going to leave you with. This is the poem in a nutshell, and I hope that this has been supportive to your learning.